Coming up tonight on the news at 5, as COVID-19 cases rise across the state, they're actually dropping in one place in Cascade County, how the numbers are falling in the detention center. Plus,
I'm Mike Dennison in Helena. A new election poll is out, and yes, it looks like we have plenty of tight races here in Montana.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the News at 5. I'm Andy Curtis, and thanks for joining us. Well, it was another windy and wet day across the state today, and to tell us more about that, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Yeah, powerful winds yet again, damaging winds in some parts of the state. Live look at Monarch here, and the ground road bare right now, but have had a few dustings of snow come through the Monarch area. It is snowing and has been snowing up over Kings Hill Pass, and a recent shot from McDonald Pass looking pretty snowy here, a little slushy, sun kind of coming and going, but same with the showers, mixed rain and snow in the lower elevations, and some snow into the higher terrain. And speaking of the higher terrain, we're still under a winter weather advisory. This is for really the higher elevations of the Little Belt Mountains. It does not include Great Falls or Belt or Geyser or even White Sulphur Springs, but an additional maybe 5 inches of snow. Here are the forecast headlines, like a candle in the wind. Yeah, it's got no chance out there today. Get ready for a prolonged period of sloppy weather, and it is time to throw on those snow tires. Well, more on the forecast coming up.
Well, the state sees another large increase of new coronavirus cases today. Montana added 668 new cases. Lewis and Clark County also announced today another COVID-related death, bringing the county total to 4. Total cases in the state are nearing 21,000, and active cases are now over 7,200. And COVID-19 related deaths statewide sit at just over 240. And as cases of COVID-19 continue to increase across the state, one place they're actually decreasing is in the Cascade County Detention Center. As we've reported, there have been dozens of cases there, and MTN's Coulter Anstat tells us what's behind the recent decrease.
Entering the Cascade County Detention Center has been a little more stressful than usual the past couple of months for detention officer Benjamin Aliperto.
It's definitely added a new sense of responsibility, but also I think just heightened awareness of realizing that we have to understand that the things that we're doing could honestly just add for more opportunities for people to take advantage of different situations.
The inmates have also been feeling the pressure of the coronavirus.
But I think as things were going on and they were saying the care and need that we had for them and our medical staff had for them, I believe it definitely eased tensions.
We have all the blocks.
Dozens of inmates and close to 20 officers have tested positive since the pandemic began. But as of Wednesday, there were only 2 positive cases in inmates in the county side of the detention center. Detention Officer Corporal Shelby Watson says at first the cases were worrisome.
Wondering if you're going to bring it home to your family or not. But you know, at the end of the day, we have a job to do here. Everyone worked well as a team.
The teamwork implementing the Sheriff's Office's plan for controlling the virus is what Sheriff Jesse Slaughter credits for the success in reducing the number of coronavirus cases. The first step was to get other sheriff's offices to take some of the Department of Corrections inmates to free up space in the detention center.
We were able then to create a quarantine pod. It was a plan on how we can take people who are unknown, bring them into the facility, and keep them safe.
He says the success takes a lot of pressure off the detention center staff, knowing they have a plan that works. In Cascade County, Coulter Anstat, MTN News.
Slaughter says the plan in place will continue to be used for any future cases of the virus. And this week, students in Havre Public Schools are back to remote learning. At a school board meeting last night, board members made the decision to go back online for 2 weeks. It comes as over 180 people in the district are quarantined or have tested positive for the coronavirus. MTN's Zach Shermley takes us inside the meeting where parents said they're concerned about the virus spreading.
Makes it very difficult to try and do what any of us might think is best because there's such a wide degree of opinion.
Tensions were running high as the Havre Public Schools Board of Trustees held an emergency meeting Wednesday night. It comes as coronavirus cases in Hill County are spiking, the positivity rate now at 9%. The county adding 97 more coronavirus cases in the week since the board's last emergency meeting. The district will transition to remote learning for the next 2 weeks, but due to a shortage of Chromebook computers, it will combine online instruction and packets.
It is a struggle for a lot of us parents because, we also have to juggle work.
Meantime, for parents like Michelle Young,
A senior that's 17, a junior that's 16, and a first grader that's 6.
that means having the older kids take care of the younger ones.
I know that my first grader is probably the most disappointed.
At the meeting, a 7-1 decision was also made to continue extracurricular activities while students do remote learning. Interim Superintendent Craig Moeller wasn't immediately available for an interview, but he sent MTN News a statement saying in part that extracurricular groups have done an amazing job following the rules and they haven't had a student test positive yet.
I mean, this is what we got to do, and I think it's just a small price that we all have to, do together, to stay afloat.
In Great Falls, Zach Shermley, MTN News.
Now, as of Tuesday night's meeting, there were 13 active cases among students and 2 among staff. A new election poll from Montana State University was released Wednesday morning, and it shows what most campaign watchers here in the state believe, that the top races in the state are all competitive. The poll shows Democrat Steve Bullock leading Republican Steve Daines in the state's marquee Senate race, and single-digit margins in the contest for governor, House, and even president. MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison has the details and tells us more about some of the underlying factors and what they could indicate about the final outcomes.
First, let's go straight to the poll results in the major races. In the Senate race, Democratic Governor Steve Bullock is leading Republican incumbent Steve Daines 49% to 47%. For governor, Republican Greg Gianforte, the state's current congressman, is leading Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney 47% to 42%. In the race for U.S. House, Republican State Auditor Matt Rosendale leads Democrat Kathleen Williams 48% to 46%. And in the presidential race, President Trump has a 51 to 44 edge over Democratic nominee Joe Biden. The poll also asked voters if they favored approving ballot measures that would legalize recreational marijuana in the state. 49% said yes, 39% said no, and 12% said they hadn't decided. The poll is based on mail questionnaires returned by about 1,600 registered likely Montana voters. It also has a fairly high margin of error, plus or minus 3.9%, so it's possible that any of these races could go the other way, or the leaders could have bigger margins. But MSU political scientist David Parker says other results of the poll may indicate an edge for Democrats. For example, the poll shows that independents and younger voters strongly favor the Democratic candidates. And he says widespread use of mail ballots may boost these groups' usually low turnout.
But here I have evidence that suggests that young voters definitely prefer the Democratic candidates disproportionately, and the independent voters disproportionately prefer the Democratic candidates. So if we're going to have a much higher turnout, you can see those numbers. It could be a pretty bruising campaign for the Republicans down the ballot with that really Democratic election.
Also, President Trump beat Hillary Clinton by 20 percentage points 4 years ago in Montana, but according to this poll is leading Joe Biden by only 7 points. Parker says that erosion of support for Trump could hurt Republicans in the state.
If we want to extrapolate from that pattern, it suggests to me that the Republican brand is a little tarnished, and perhaps as a result, this could have consequences for down ballot races.
And finally, on the Senate race, another plus for Bullock is his approval rating of 60% in the poll, compared to 52% for Steve Daines.
I think overall, people like Bullock. I think they find him personal, and I think they like the job that he's been doing with the coronavirus. And I think at the end of the day, this is the biggest concern I would have with Steve Daines.
Of course, a poll is just a snapshot in time, and this one was conducted 2 to 4 weeks ago. Since then, we've had millions of dollars spent on these races, and millions more are in the pipeline. Also, Republicans are still the majority among Montana voters, and Democrats usually have an uphill battle in any statewide race here. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
You can see the full poll results on our website, ktvh.com, along with Mike Dennison's coverage of the results. And when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz will have a complete check of your forecast. And later, answers for small business owners who receive PPP loans about how and when their loans may be forgiven.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's snowing where it should be snowing. Great to see some of the ski areas beginning to see some of that snow. And yeah, it is the middle of October, and we should be at times seeing some snow in the lower elevations like we have been in and around Helena. A couple of mixed rain and snow showers have pushed through. 47 degrees right now, west wind down to 13 miles per hour. The wind is easing up here. Same with Great Falls, 43, and look at that, calm right now. That's a beautiful thing after all that brutal wind that we've had. 30s and 40s temperature-wise out there, and 20s and 30s into the mountains. Look at that, Great Falls and Cut Bank. Calm, both locations, while the rest of the state is dealing with some wind. That is highly unusual. As far as the wind goes, still some wind tonight, maybe a little break through the overnight into tomorrow morning, but still a bit of some wind out there. High pressure will be moving in, so we'll likely see some steady wind throughout the day, but a stronger wind increasing, especially out across the prairies here on Friday ahead of the next storm system. On the radar, I've plotted some of the fires, and a lot of these fires likely being put out. If they're not out already, they will be by the time this weekend happens. You can see some of the snow showers right along and west of the Continental Divide, just west of Helena. Some rain showers mixed with a little snow. And when you get up in a little bit of some elevation, some of the benches across the north central Montana, and some snow moving back up Monarch Canyon into the Little Belt Mountains here. And the storm that actually came through yesterday is screaming across the northern part of the country, already looking at it reaching the Great Lakes. So mixed rain and snow showers, and notice how these bands kind of set up here. Where we see one of those bands, mainly over the mountains, but they could drift over the lower elevations and could drop a brief little burst of some snow into tomorrow morning. Maybe a few snow showers northeast Montana and still around the Helena area, at least up into the higher terrain. A little more sunshine as we go through the day here by Thursday afternoon. And then Friday, here comes the storm. Maybe a little mix of some rain and snow, north central Montana through the morning hours, going over to rain, but Friday night into Saturday, we'll have a front go through that will drop the snow levels. Look at the snow still potentially over the Little Belts and right down the Continental Divide. Another few inches could accumulate. But real quickly, this weekend, Friday night into Saturday, snow increasing here. Some snow continuing through Saturday and Sunday, possibly into Monday here, and still some wet and white weather around even on Tuesday. So it's a prolonged period of some stormy weather. For tonight, the activity as far as the snow goes should be winding down. We'll be down into the 20s and 30s, so it could get a little slick, certainly freezing temperatures for most. For tomorrow, a blustery day with mixed rain and snow showers, maybe not as numerous or not as steady as we've got out there right now. 40s to about 50 degrees around Helena. So a couple of mixed rain and snow showers tomorrow. Friday, most of the day is dry. Saturday, most of the day will be snowy. A wet snow with temperatures above the freezing point. Sunday, maybe a little mix of rain and snow. Going over to snow for Sunday night into Monday. Cool temperatures and the chance of more snow on Tuesday. And for Great Falls, relatively warm the next couple of days. Rain showers increasing through Friday night. It's a snowy Saturday morning and more snow redeveloping on Sunday into Monday.
Well, millions of small business owners who received PPP loans have been waiting for answers on how and when their loans will be forgiven. Alicia Nieves has some answers that will affect whether your favorite shops and restaurants will be able to stay open.
The Small Business Administration has just announced a plan to forgive 70% of the loans it gave to small businesses.
The new guidance that has come out from Treasury and SBA aim to ease the process for applying for forgiveness for loans under $50,000.
Molly Day is with the National Small Business Association and explains the new guidance forgives loans that were $50,000 or less, but also comes with a new rule. Businesses with no employees or one where the business owner is is the only employee, can now have their loans forgiven. Initially, most of the forgivable portion of a PPP loan was that which was used towards paying employees.
A lot of small businesses don't have employees, or they have one employee and that's themselves. And so adjusting that really makes that much more workable for a lot of the sole proprietors that are small businesses and doing great work and deserve some assistance as well.
The forgiveness process laid out by the Small Business Administration does not have the usual red tape that comes with most government forgiveness processes. The business owner just fills out this one-page document and sends it to their lender.
I do think making the forgiveness process easier and more streamlined could help many small businesses.
Many businesses have been worried about staying open even though they received PPP loans months ago. But several are now saying this new streamlined loan forgiveness process may make staying open much easier, giving them, businesses like your favorite coffee shop or local restaurant, even small retailer, a renewed hope for their future. I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
Stay where you are, because coming up next on the News at 5, how a new social media app is working to change the way we interact with nature.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back, everybody. Do you think phones disconnect us from nature? If so, you might want to think again. So often technology is blamed as the culprit for disconnecting us from the world around us, but a new media company is changing that perception. A new social media application is looking to change the way we interact with nature, a platform that combines the best worlds of Instagram and Twitch. MTN's wildlife correspondent Tanner Saul shows us how.
That is a black racer. Hello. Mammals is a new nature app that's reimagining what can be done to democratize the nature media industry and reconnect people to nature around the world. They do this by using technology available in nearly everyone's hands, the smartphone. It's a nature platform that co-founder Rob Whitehair says originated right here in Missoula.
Because of the lifestyle there and the community so supportive, that I was able to really clearly see all of the issues that were happening in the nature media business.
In the hands of a mammals community member, a smartphone actually becomes an agent for change and the tool to connect people around the globe to nature and one another. It's a streaming service like Twitch. Live stream your adventures or take photos while out on trails.
I want to harness that power that we've been given to actually create a global community of people communicating about nature.
No matter where you may reside, the abundance of diverse perspectives on wild areas that surround you allow this platform to grow.
While the science of nature is a universal language, the interpretation of that and how we interact with nature and what nature means to us is different everywhere in the world.
Mammals intends to promote nature by creating ever-evolving pieces of education.
It's the thing that brings us all together. It's not, it doesn't see age. It doesn't like, that's not something that is even important. Somebody who discovers something who might be 8 years old can totally influence somebody who's been in nature all their life and never seen something like that.
I'm an absolute treat. In Missoula, Tanner Saul, MTN News.
We'll be back right after this.
When we welcome our West Coast viewers, several states spared the horrors of last spring, now facing a dire fall surge in COVID cases. We'll hear from nurses on the front lines. Also, what happens when your signature doesn't match your mail-in ballot? What our team found ahead on Nightly News.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Well, thanks for making us a part of your evening tonight. We'll be back here at 6, but NBC Nightly News is next. We'll see you later.